Hey, if you missed our Black Friday sale but still want to get one of our new designs, we're having another sale December 12th through the 14th. Visit jimmydore.com, then click on shop, then click on merch. Or go directly to jimmydoreshow.dashery.com. That's this weekend, Friday through Sunday.
Go live on Jimmy Dore.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in extra early on this special live stream. And it's a special live stream because we have the one and only Candace Owens with us. Hi, Candace. How are you?
I'm doing well. I wanted to jump on here to just ask you, have you not made your mandated anti-Candace videos? Because I was realizing that your show wasn't doing that. So I just wanted to see what was going wrong. You know, I didn't want to send people over to see what was happening on the show, since every other commentator in the world has done some anti-Candace content. So I'm here to help you do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a couple in the can. I'm just waiting for the go ahead from Benjamin Netanyahu. I haven't gotten it yet. And I'm waiting for at least one $7,000 check. I haven't gotten that either. So, but when that happens, believe me, you're going right under the bus. And,
okay, great. I wanted to make sure.
Because you are a scumbag. And
demonic, evil, scumbag.
I guess my first question would be, why don't you care about the midterms?
You cannot make it up. You cannot make up the commentary. Tim Pool was just really something. It's like, why are Republicans focused on public executions of Republicans? I don't understand. Don't you understand that your job is to vote and to make sure the same people that are engaged in covering up and selling you crap about what happened on that day still need to be in office?
Well, let me ask you, I've heard you mention the Mockingbird media, and it is kind of amazing. Like during COVID, I did not expect the people who I knew who were lefties, who their entire life called Big Pharma a criminal, murderous cartel organization, the people who never trusted the government, who knew that the FDA and the CDC were regulatory captured, and it completely flipped during COVID and became mouthpieces for big pharma and the establishment and murderous people like Dr. Fauci, and especially what he did during the AIDS crisis. Nobody even knows about that. But so how shocked were you? Did you see this coming? How shocked were you that there would be this significant amount of conservative media who would completely flip on their ethos and now start to believe the FBI and their BS story and repeat establishment talking points and try to shame someone who's asking legitimate, logical questions? I had that happen to me during Seth Rich. The same thing happened with Seth Rich. They use the sympathies of the family. They're like, oh, it's hurting the family if you even talk about this. I'm like, they showed John F. Kennedy's head getting blown off for 60 years in a row on television. Nobody ever said, what about his family? Nobody ever said. So, and anyway, so I guess there's like 3 questions in there, but my first one is, how did you see this coming, that there would be this Mockingbird conservative media, and how shocked were you?
I think I was shocked first and foremost because Charlie was publicly executed, right? And so typically when I'm doing commentary, it's about someone I don't know, right? I'm removed from the subject, so I don't have to go through a personal grieving process. So there were so many layers of my shock at the actual event, then the shock at how swiftly the people closest to him lied about where he was at in his perspective. So I couldn't even process why that was happening, while also trying to understand suddenly why Susie Wiles is eulogizing him. Like, what's this about? I don't understand. And so for me to come back and be able to process all of this, I had to go away. And I just went up to the mountains and just spent time with no tech and just kind of breathed in some air and was like, okay, this is really happening. This is going to be a fight like never before. And I was shocked at the people who pretended to be his friends. I mean, it was like upside down land. It was people that tried to stop Charlie from rising, suddenly stepping in and saying, this is what we have to do. This is what his legacy is. And so I haven't stopped being shocked, as every week there's and the instant fight, the instant war they launched on me was bizarre. I mean, within 48 hours, I mean, maybe 72 hours, I eulogize him. I, said, oh, last message talking about Catholicism. Suddenly there was Operation Mockingbird saying this is completely untrue. Charlie never thought about Catholicism. He was a Judeo-Christian till the day he died, an evangelical, whatever it is. And I was just trying to process, okay, why even lie about the small stuff? So that's when I recognized immediately that there was a conspiracy here, because there is no reason. Of course, I was shocked by Bibi Netanyahu coming out right away and saying I didn't kill him. That totally makes you look not guilty. I don't know if you felt, Jimmy, that right after Charlie died, did you think I better get on the air and say I didn't kill him? Nobody felt the need to do that, but Bibi Netanyahu did. And once that happened, I realized that it was going to be a fight against Zionists. Full stop. I think I realized that was this was going to be a fight against Zionists, because they wanted the ghost of Charlie Kirk. They were like, this is our ghost and we need to direct it so that there's energy behind Zionism and Israel. And that's why this fight, I think, has been so especially nasty.
And so I just want to play just 2 quick clips of Charlie Kirk.
Sure.
To kind of show how he thought. And we'll come back and get your comment.
Again, I think the best reading of what happened there is who wanted JFK dead the most. Again, a lot of people said Israel wanted JFK dead. I'd love to hear that argument. But definitely Lyndon Baines Johnson and parts of our own government, and the Cubans wanted him dead. And who actually made it happen? There were 15 or 20 things that happened that day that were inexcusable. They changed the parade route. He rode in an open-air convertible. LBJ decided not to ride alongside of him. The vehicle slowed down right when it went by the Texas School Book Depository. A lot there, right? And then, again, I think that all of us are smarter to believe that it was simply Lee Harvey Oswald. The more important question is not, oh, who did it? We have to first acknowledge it, that more than one person did it. Yeah. Once we acknowledge that more than one person did it, then we can expose our government to have lied to us about the JFK assassination, which then I think will sober a lot of us about trusting the government in the future.
So this goes back to my original point on how the people who are coming at you and the people who have just completely flipped their ethos of you don't trust the government, of course, and they don't want to admit that there was some kind of there was more than one person involved in this. And it's obvious that there was more than one person involved with this. And let me play this real quick, and then we'll throw to you.
Because I learned during COVID. I learned when they told us that it came from a bat in the Himalayas. I learned when they told us the vaccine was safe and effective. I learned when they told us that ivermectin was horse paste, that you better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free. Thank you so much.
And so it's just amazing to me how these again, it's just shocking to me how they could flip their whole MO. And what do you think the fallout of this would be? Because people see this, right? And most people are going along with it. The PBD did his poll. He's very pro-Israel on his show. And even the people who follow him, 70% of those people overwhelmingly agreed with you. So what do you, I still don't, do you think this is the long arm of Zionism? Yeah,
I do. And it's very clear where that line is being drawn. Find somebody who has, ignored Gaza being bombed. Find somebody who will call Candace a demon, but has never once called Bibi Netanyahu a demon. And you will find that same person trying to protect the Charlie Kirk narrative. It didn't make sense. I mean, within 48 hours, they were like, no questions. It didn't make any sense. And that is why people find it to be suspicious. And I've said over and over again, even if you accept to some degree that if you truly believed, okay, I think Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger, you could not say that you were certain that nobody else was involved because we haven't been told anything. You can't say that what happened on that day is very obvious and clear. And this is the rhetoric that they're using. And I don't think there's ever been a situation where things are less clear, and they are using the exact same psychological tactics that they used during BLM to shut down any inquiry about the George Floyd thing. I mean, that was kind of my first video that went globally viral, was when I poked holes in the George Floyd story. And I was like, hey guys, did you even know this about George Floyd? There's more information here. Those people who supported me during the George Floyd thing would have never said, well, there's no evidence. Just because he, did fentanyl his entire life doesn't mean that this has anything to do with this day. It's like, no, these are actually all relevant to building a narrative and to asking questions. Like, this is what it means to embark on scientific investigation. You don't know where it's going to lead, but of course you have to go through the process of asking questions. Well, no, the BLM side criminalized asking questions. If I said, well, maybe, and I did, where's all this money going to? Oh, how dare you? George Floyd died. You're ruining the legacy. It's racism. They're literally doing these exact same tactics. COVID, how dare you? Grandma's gonna die. Trust the experts. I mean, I was going through, Glenn Beck interviewed Erica Kirk yesterday or the day before, and to hear this part of the conversation, which was so elitist, where Glenn is saying basically people don't understand how the law works. How are you not aware of yourself and how much you sound like Dr. Fauci? Trust the experts. Okay, I'm gonna just put a thing on my sign and just say, how they did, thank you, Dr. Fauci, the signs on the lawn. Thank you, Dr. Patel, Dr. Prakash Patel. We don't understand. We can't possibly understand common sense. It's so crappy. And the reality is that Turning Point USA wasn't built on this idea of experts and elitism, and it won't survive if it keeps continuing down this path.
So I just want to read one more. This is a tweet that Charlie tweeted out on November 22nd, 2023. Or maybe it doesn't matter. So he says,
yeah, you're right.
60 years ago today, JFK was murdered in broad daylight, a moment that would alter the trajectory of American history and shatter the public's trust in the federal government. Today, the same intel agencies whose fingerprints are all over JFK's assassination are more unaccountable and more weaponized than ever. But now they have vast technological powers, from universal surveillance to the new tool of AI. And when you take on the military industrial complex and the police state, don't be surprised when those in power call for you to be eliminated. 11/22/63 should be a day that reminds us that power must be returned to we the people, the sovereign, and America's intel agencies must be brought to heel. And again, so
Wow.
all these people who have zero questions about the FBI narrative
Mhm.
are the ones who are betraying Charlie Kirk's ethos, his MO, and his legacy. And it's disgusting. Not one question. I've said this about a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there with zero questions that are just obvious. So I just wanted to, I just don't see how these people can flip everything they've thought their whole entire careers, public careers, and go against Charlie's legacy. Those two videos and this tweet, they're just complete betrayals. And how they think people who like Charlie Kirk in the first place would ever flip their thinking and betray him like that. It doesn't make sense. And so let me just ask, where do you see the fallout coming from the Mockingbird media? Do you see them losing all credibility? Because I do.
Yeah, they've already lost all credibility. That's why they're fighting me so hard, is because, and what makes me so happy about them losing, because they are losing right now, right? And they every morning I wake up and there's something new. They're just making things up out of thin air now. I can't even respond to the things that I'm being attacked over. It's just a full assault. And it's because despite the fact that they had me fired, banned from countries, literally, I can't get into Australia because I won't be a Zionist. Right?
I was just there, and they
sued by a sitting president, and I had to basically reroute my entire life. My husband and I had to build everything from scratch. They had Zionists, behind the scenes donors, make sure that I would not be allowed to eulogize Charlie Kirk. They had Eric Bolling go out and just lie and fictionalize and say Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019, despite how close we always were. And they then put themselves in his chair on his stage, we're his best friends, I'm his pastor. The people were able to see that none of that was authentic. So they had all the money, they had all the donors, they have CBS News, they have the mainstream media, they had all the power, but we had the truth. And truth is the only real power. And so it is a lesson for them, and it does make all of them look inauthentic. And I do believe that the majority of these people are motivated by money, right? They are getting paid. They had some stake in the ghost of Charlie Kirk, meaning, this person's going to take over his tour. So that's his touring contract. And this is a way for them to get their leg up, and they weren't as big before. We're going to put you in, as a Turning Point influencer. All these ways that, if they defend Turning Point USA, they're going to get paid. That's the overwhelming thing that's happening. Actually, I had people inside of Prager University send me, which I'm going to publish later, the list of all of the influencers that are on PragerU's payroll alone that are being paid to come after me. Which is like Graham Allen is quite literally one of these influencers. He has no substance, he has no soul. He's just, I'm going to attack him because I'm getting paid to. But it should satisfy us that they had all of the money and all of the quote unquote influence in the mainstream media, and yet the people would rather watch ballistic guys on YouTube that say, nah, this didn't happen. The hunters that are saying, nah, that this didn't happen. Sorry. Because they know that's true. Truth is resonating.
Well, I just want to bring this up because people keep saying that you're the one lying, even though you keep continuously catching other people in inexplicable lies about everything surrounding this event and Charlie Kirk's legacy. For instance, they were all trying to say that it wasn't true that Charlie had turned on the Greater Israel Project. And you said that you had text messages. They said it was a lie. And then you, of course, revealed them. Here's the Jewish donors play into all the worst stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And so when you produce, that's funny, they tell you you're lying, and then you produce them, and then they go, well, why would you release private
text messages?
So you can't, they create this scenario where you can't win, no matter if you prove them to be liars. You shouldn't have done it. It was inappropriate. And if you don't prove them to be liars, then you're the one who's lying. And
Mhm.
so I can't get over again that they think this is going to work. And so I just wanted to bring this up. Erica Kirk, now there's a new one where you have relayed information that Charlie Kirk told people the day before he was killed that he said they're going to kill me.
Mhm.
And so Erica was asked about this by Glenn Beck. I miss how he used to cry all the time. I don't know why he doesn't do that anymore. I miss it, but he was my favorite crier. But here we go. Here's what she had to say about it.
I have unbelievable amounts of death threats. My kids have kidnapping threats, death threats. Our whole team has death threats. We knew that there was always going to be a threat, but Charlie and I.
So I just want to stop it for a second. This isn't the point of this video, but she kind of makes it sound like this is new. She's admitting right there, this is not new. This has been always. This has been, so people, it sounds like they're trying to make it out like you are creating these death threats other people have.
Yeah.
And it's just, she's there admitting that we always knew, she said, and they always were receiving death threats. So it's not, I don't know why they bring it up because it's not new. But anyway, here we go.
We promised each other we would never live in fear. And he would say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Okay, well, the problem is we have Frank Turek saying that he did say that. So here, let me play that.
And so I texted him. I said, Charlie, I hope you've increased your security detail. And he said, I have. I know they want me dead. Now.
So, what? Just go. What? Go ahead. Take it where you would like on that, because here again. We have these people calling you a liar, and yet we have Frank Turek saying exactly, and then so they keep contradicting each other unwittingly, and that it indicates that someone's lying. And as you always point out, the only reason you would lie is to cover something up. So take it where you want.
Well, here's what I'm just gonna tell the truth, okay? I did not see that she had said that when I did my show yesterday, and then I saw it after, and I can tell you 1000% that Andrew Colvett told me the night before Charlie was murdered that Charlie Kirk texted him and said, they are going to kill me. Andrew Colvett is the person who received a text message from Charlie Kirk saying they're going to kill me. And I'm not getting that third party. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett. He asked me to keep it off record, and I would have kept it off record if Erica did not imply that I lied, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying she is saying Candace is lying. I am saying that since I was the one who put it out there, she's implying that I'm lying and that that's not true. So we have a scenario here where either Andrew Colvett has told an explicit lie or Erica Kirk is telling an explicit lie. It's not up for me to determine who. I didn't receive that text message, but yeah. And I also was told by a person at Turning Point USA, who I'm not going to name because they are one of my sources, that Dan Flood received the same message. So there you go. I don't know. I believe that she has his phone. I maybe somebody deleted it, but I don't know why Andrew Colvett, 48 hours after Charlie was dead, would lie to me. He did not sound like he was lying. He sounded very concerned about it. And I specifically said, like, who is they? Like, you know, like he said, they're going to kill me. And he said, I don't know who he was talking about. And I thought, it's kind of weird. Yeah, that's what I can tell you. I can just tell you the truth. So
what do you think is in it for someone to deny that Charlie Kirk was saying that? I mean, what's in it for them? What's in it for Erica Kirk to deny that right now?
Is she denying it? Did Andrew make it up? Is Frank making it up? I don't know. But this is kind of the repeat problem that we have with Turning Point, is that somebody's lying, but we're also told how dare we notice the lies, right? Right. And so we're constantly in this pull. Now, I was thinking that some of their lies were because they have a lot of Jewish money. And they're always like, oh, we only have a few Jewish donors. Yeah, but they're the big donors, right? So like, it's like, hey, this person's got to be a $2 million check like Bob Shulman was, and he's going to pull it away. That matters. So I don't know if that's what they're being motivated by. it never made sense to me why they didn't come out and instantly admit that Charlie was fighting with the pro-Israel cause and wrote that. They said he didn't. I dropped it. And then they tried to at first say he said it in jest, and then they kind of came clean and were like, yeah, he was under some pressure. It almost feels like I don't know. I don't want to assign motive. I don't want to say who I think is lying. I'm just saying that it's very obvious that somebody is lying. I mean, somebody is lying. So
was it Andrew Colbert who told you that you and Tucker Carlson were next?
yes.
And
He was in the hospital, by the way. That was just a couple of hours after Charlie got shot. So that already even disputes the idea that it was a lone shooter and it was Tyler Robinson avenging, like, hey, okay, so who told you that? Who told you that? It had to have been a federal agent. It couldn't have just been like your friend. She's on a list. Like that's intel, right? That's not like you're here, you're getting updates from federal agents. He never explicitly said who it was, but he is the person who told me that.
And he still hasn't revealed who told him that.
No.
Okay. So again, these are all logical, legitimate questions, and people act like it's crazy. I mean, Glenn Beck intimated that there's mental illness involved with people asking these questions. He didn't.
COVID-19, every single round of that BLM, they always have to then turn it into a pathology where they're like, actually, it's Machiavellian. And what's the favorite? The dark triad. That's their favorite one. It's narcissism and this and that is the reason you won't get the vaccine. And then somebody at CBS writes an article about how you're actually a psychopath because you won't mask your children. Like I said, we're just on a hamster wheel with this stuff. So okay, I'm glad we're at the stage of it's a pathology actually.
Now, I just want to show you another one of these, right? So this logical, you're people being caught contradicting each other, and so somebody's lying. And here is the head of his security went on the CIA podcast, and here's what he was saying about the drone coverage, right? So people were like, how come you guys didn't have drone coverage? Well, this guy says there wasn't.
And we start looking at things immediately, like, where are our risks? What's our risk assessment when we come in? That's why we get there. That's why we start doing the advance so early. We walk it, we build it ourselves.
And we forgot to have somebody looking at the roofs. That doesn't make any sense. We walk it, we do it, we build it ourselves. And then, of course, we leave all the roofs unattended and nobody's even looking at it. Although
they didn't even do a walkthrough that day, Jimmy.
I really? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
So
I have that as a fact. They did not even do a walkthrough that day. The only thing the security requested on that day was easy access out. And they wanted the top, which is what that text message was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually not Losey Center. They wanted that top walkway above Charlie cleared. They didn't want anybody above Charlie. And they also wanted to make sure that they insisted that Charlie was outdoor event. They were advised that's not a good idea. We can't control traffic flow. And Macy Crofts said to them, no, this is what Charlie prefers. And so Turning Point USA insisted upon him being outdoor despite being advised not to do that. And they did not do a walkthrough. And they arrived, I think, around 10. I have to check my notes on that, but I think just a couple of hours before Charlie arrived is when his security arrived. No walkthrough was done. And all they cared about and insisted upon was making sure that the cars were right behind, like they wanted easy exit out.
So again, it makes no sense. We built, it just flies right off him that he's lying, right? That he's got that used car salesman, overly sincere about things that are inconsequential. So here, let's watch more. He starts to talk about the drones.
And so initially, I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year, and got the guy's license.
Who asked you how much money you spent on drones? No one's asking these questions. Again, you're too many words, over-explaining. Anyway, here we go.
But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it.
Okay.
That's a 107B. We can't break the rules. Right. And then you had secondary restrictions, probably due to heavy foot traffic for the school, but I can't go in and break the rules. There's laws for a reason.
Okay.
And so
all he had to do was fill out a request to fly a drone, and they could have, and now we know that. And so again, this is all garbage, but here we go. He's got more garbage coming.
now the school could have flown drones, the PD, but they didn't have them, right? Okay. But Orem PD has a drone unit active and professional, and that police department, I will tell you right now, is awesome.
I think everybody knows the reputation of some podunk police department in the middle of Utah is awesome. They're so awesome. They have no videotape of Tyler Robinson turning himself in. They have so awesome. They're so awesome that they didn't look at the roofs, right? Even though they said they were gonna. Nobody was watching that roof. Although people in the crowd saw him on the roof. And then just like in Butler, Pennsylvania, the cops, the Secret Service, the state, everybody missed it. But the people in the audience, in the crowd, were screaming that there was a shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania. Same thing here. But the guys who are paid millions of dollars to make sure that doesn't happen missed it. The awesome Orem Police Department missed it. And so again, he go.
They get it.
They get it.
They were there. They helped both on the soft side and the hard side.
They just forgot to look at the roof. They forgot to seal the entrance and the access to the roof. That's how awesome they are.
And so I started asking questions like, you guys have a drone unit? Yeah. Good. Do you have an MOU or a mutual aid agreement with the school? And they're like, yeah. I said, did they call you and ask for assistance? No. I'm like, why wouldn't you call?
Why wouldn't you?
And then, so, that's one. So I can't go in and break the law. I can't make my guys break the law. I can't go in and do something.
Okay. So he's saying this is why he didn't have a drone, but then we listen to Frank Turek. Here's our guy again, and let's listen to what he says.
Anyway, on our way in, we had drone footage of the crowd building.
What?
And
what?
Charlie had it on his phone. I said, Charlie, I don't like this place. There are too many buildings. Charlie just kind of brushed it off because, look, we have a security team, and he wasn't going to cancel an event. And as far as we knew, the university police.
So there you go. So he's saying they're looking at the drone coverage on their way into the event, that they were his team. So again, we would be derelict. You would be derelict in your job to not ask this question. Who's telling the truth here, and why is one of them lying? What are they covering up?
Right. Yep. It's exactly right. And that is why they are just sort of now in themselves in a late stage psychosis, where they just think that they're going to convince us that it's not proper. Like there's impropriety in noticing all of these lies. Let the family grieve. And, do you not want the legacy of Charlie Kirk to survive? Do you not want Turning Point USA to survive? If Turning Point USA is going to become an organization that is almost the exact opposite of everything that Charlie represented, right? Charlie did not believe in establishment media. He did not believe that you should only speak to the New York Times and trust CBS News, and that you needed to be an official reporter or a lawyer to ask questions. No, I don't really care about whether or not Turning Point USA survives. The whole point of helping to build that organization was that it didn't want to become the RNC. Like Charlie thought that the RNC was stale, that all they cared about was wealthy donors, that they actually were not acting the part of a youth movement, that they didn't have their finger on the pulse of the people. And he was correct in that assessment. Now it's like we blinked, and that is what Turning Point USA is becoming. We're the authority because we're wealthy. We have money. We can get Barry Weiss to write a good article about us. We're not, that's not going to pass. That doesn't work with us, and nothing they are saying makes sense. And pretending that it's because it would somehow diminish the case against Tyler Robinson, again, requires us to suspend our rationality. If something that we present ruins the case, then you didn't have a case to begin with. Like, why did you show, Jimmy, why did you catch the other guy shooting Charlie? That's going to ruin our case against Tyler Robinson. Okay, well then maybe Tyler Robinson is not acting alone by himself. If we find something along this way that can ruin your case.
So I just don't understand why you don't care about tainting the jury pool anyway. So
That's the new, and it's so funny how their talking points are always at the same time. Like
Yes.
everyone's suddenly like, "Oh, whoa, wait, what about the jury pool?" And Glenn Beck asked that question. Are you concerned
about
about tainting the jury pool? What a totally organic, non-scripted question, because I'm sure that's the primary concern. If somebody even spoke to me about the jury pool or things of that nature after I watched my husband public extra, I'd be like, I don't care about anything. I would have so much fire for Kash Patel. I would be screaming at him for having, which he did that day, basically sending marshals on a wild goose chase and saying, we've got the guy when they didn't have the guy. It was almost like he was just stalling to let somebody get away. So this idea that the proper thing to do is to tell the FBI because they've never done anything wrong and they had nothing to do with JFK being murdered is ridiculous. It actually makes us trust you least.
Yes.
It makes us trust you less. It's like I would much rather trust people on the ground in Utah, which is what I have been doing, to tell me what happened that day, to give me their footage, than to accept that it must always just be given to the FBI. I mean, Terrell taking down the cameras. That was the first thing I knew was wrong. Terrell is never at student events, ever. Okay? I know these people. I worked with this organization. I asked Terrell, why were you there? You don't do student events. I mean, I'm talking about campus events, pardon. He said we were trying something new that day. And do you want to hear something funny? They tried something new that day, and that was the last day they did it because Terrell since has not been at campus events. So it was just first time, last time for everything.
Well, of course, then they lied about that, right? So they said initially the reason why they took the SD cards out of the camera was the cops told them to, and then the cops said we didn't, and then they switched their story and said, well, they were people were stealing hats, so we were afraid they were going to steal the cameras, I guess, and that's
and just the one behind his head, by the way, that's the one they were.
Yeah, you wouldn't just take the SD card; you'd take the whole camera. Why would you take
or like the giant? If you're gonna they're gonna steal, the harder camera to steal is the one that's actually wired in up there. If you're gonna grab something off a table, there's a big camera right here. There's a camera over there. Like I'm just trying. If I want to do hood rat stuff with my friends, I'm not gonna like stand on the chair and try to unwire it. I'm just gonna grab the one that's right there. Nothing made sense. And by the way, Terrell didn't tell me that. Terrell himself never told me that. He told me that the reason that he took that footage was because he wanted to spare Erica having to see her husband killed in 4K.
Oh, come on.
And I said back to him, did you notice that we all watched him being killed in 4K? Like you didn't spare, if that was your goal, you came short of it when it was live streamed and the entire world saw it. And then he sort of pivoted and said, well, I also wanted to make sure that I had secured it for the FBI. And I said, well, why that camera in particular? Because you didn't grab the other ones that swiftly. And he said that, and this was the part I still can't get clarity on, that the ops back home. And I said, what do you mean the ops back home? You don't have people back at Turning Point USA watching the live stream. And he said, oh, we were doing something new that day. And I asked him, okay, well, were the ops, you're saying, he said up back in Arizona. I said, so they were at Turning Point USA headquarters? And he said, no. Well, that's where you work, Terrell. So who are these ops that you spoke to and needed to grab the footage? We can't get clarity on who the ops were.
So do you feel, what is the most compelling piece of evidence to you that the FBI story or the establishment story about what happened to Charlie is not true? What is the most compelling? For me, it's this. It's the fact that a 30-06 bullet would leave an exit wound like a drive-through, like at least 6 inches. So mostly it would probably blow someone's head off, and certainly his neck. And here's Rob O'Neill. He was part of the SEAL team that went and got bin Laden. And here's what he had to say about it.
And we were told that he was like Superman. His body stopped a 30-06 bullet. His body was like Superman, made of like some sort of a superhuman metal or something like that. What do you believe about that? If a 30-06 round hit Charlie Kirk, what would have happened?
Well, it's going to blow his head off, probably. It's going to be a big mess, too, but then you're going to find remnants of the bullet. I don't think they've even found it yet. Why was the chair and the desk moved when you can get a forensic expert in there and find out exactly where the shot was fired from? I'm just asking these questions. If they can be refuted, fine. And if you tell me the answer, great. I'll stop asking that. But we're not getting any answers except this is what happened. Shut up. Be a good worker.
Shut up. You're an anti-Semite. And when the trial happens, you'll look like a fool.
That's it.
So to me, that's the most compelling thing, that this is a concocted story by the establishment. And so there's a guy who knows something about it. He shot a lot of people. So what's the most compelling piece of evidence for you?
Well, I will say, Jimmy, I am disappointed that you didn't like Popeye the Sailor Man when you grew up. You can eat a lot of spinach and grow up to be able to stop bullets. And I want to encourage everybody at home to eat your vegetables, because that 3,000 pounds of energy coming at you, you will be able to stop. So I'm disappointed in that guy, because who's he? What does he know about guns, you know? And what's amazing is they're trying to do this thing where they're like, well, I spoke to some experts said it maybe could have happened. Show me the example. There's a lot of people being shot all around the world, okay? Show me the example of a person who got shot in the neck with a 30-06 or even something of a similar caliber. And that not only, and I want you to focus on this, not only did the bullet not go through, okay, there was no blood splatter on the back of his shirt when he went down. Okay, they're not showing you that footage. Not only that, I've also said this, which should be, even if you said this was some miracle and it stopped, we can all agree the front of his neck would have been a mess. It wasn't. That's what I am telling you guys. He only had a mark where you saw that mark go in. It completely destroyed his artery. So that's why you saw so much blood. That was like completely. But this didn't even take out like the front of his neck. Okay, he looked good. He looked good after, once he was cleaned up and put into the casket. Charlie looked good. This was not a situation which required a lot to put Charlie back together. So that's what I want people to know. It's beyond just the bullet didn't pass through. You have to believe that it was such a miracle. There was no blood on the back of his shirt until obviously he went downward, and then things, gravity. But there was no blood. There was no splatter. And also that the front of his neck, it was clean. It's ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, that's the big obvious thing. The second, for me, most compelling thing is that they're saying how harmful these conspiracy theories are, and yet the easiest thing that they could have done immediately is to just release footage of the person taking the shot. Even if we can't see it, Tyler Robinson, wouldn't you just go, oh, we're actually going to show you, because there were cameras everywhere, the shot being taken from Losey Center? They have not produced that evidence. Why? Explain to me logically. I know you guys are big lawyers and experts, why releasing footage of somebody taking a shot would in any way hinder your super strong case against him. That's not going to make it stronger, right? It's not going to make it stronger to show us that this person actually fired the shot. And here's, and I will say a third thing that's the most compelling. There was only one person who caught that person on the roof crouching down, one person who caught that on camera, right? And you hear the guy say in the background, oh, I see somebody up there. I see somebody up there. That happens at 12:23. I think Charlie gets shot at 12:23 and is maybe 30 milliseconds. I've spoken to that individual. He was difficult to find, but not too hard to find. I've spoken to this person twice. He said he has not been asked to testify. He did not. No, here's the best part. He did not see that person take the shot. He saw him crouch down, and that was it. And this person works teaching people how to fire guns. He said it did not look to him like Tyler. He said the person was in, what's the word? Which is what we heard over the 911 call. He saw a person that was in, he said he thought it was a military man, and he was in, what do you call them when they're in like their black official garb? There's an expression for that.
I don't know. I'm blanking on it myself.
Thank you. Tactical gear. My producer just said it in my ear. Tactical gear. He said he saw a person in tactical gear. This is a professional who knew what he was doing. He did not see him take the shot. He did not see, because he said there would have been a recoil, and that he told the local police, he walked into the police station right after, and he said, I saw somebody on the roof. He did not see that person take the shot, okay? The lone witness to this person on the roof, okay?
Wow.
They have not reached out to him. Tyler Robinson's defense lawyers have not reached out to him. Does that make sense to you?
It just sounds like you're a crazy person. And,
yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
So there's so much that I would like to ask you about. Did you know that I asked Grok to analyze the sound waves, and Grok says that it's not the sound waves don't match up with a high caliber rifle like 30-06. That it sounds like it came from close. What's closer? Did you know this already, or am I telling you something you already know?
Well, I think I've spoken to every UVU student on the ground that day. In my investigation, everyone said that it sounded like it came from closer.
Yeah.
And there's mysteriously, it's a dark hole if you try to get footage of what happened if you're Charlie Kirk on his left side, right? So
Right.
based on the evidence I have gathered, I believe that the shot came from a left side and it came from a lot closer. And if somebody fired a rifle, that was just to cover a sound. And I do not believe that there was ever a shot fired from the top of Losey Center. There is not one piece of compelling evidence to that effect. There's no one that can dispute that. There, least of all, the feds who do not want to produce that evidence for whatever reason. And yeah, that is where my investigation has led me. The students who, were below the age of 60, for whatever reason, the mainstream media could only find people that didn't go to UVU and didn't actually speak to the students, who all said, we didn't recognize, like, a lot of people that were there that day.
Right.
They didn't go to UVU. It was very weird. And we heard the shot from closer coming from the left side.
So I wanted to ask you about and show you Kash Patel completely flipping on his story about the text messages that Tyler Robinson was alleged to have sent to his trans lover with language that only a 22-year-old kid would not use. My love, I'm in my vehicle, all those things. And it's like, he's an A+ student, but somehow he wanted to leave a complete here, who, what, where, when, and why I killed this guy. And I wanted, it doesn't make sense at all. And they keep saying that, he confessed. He didn't confess. And they say he turned himself in. And people are saying, why don't you talk to the parents? Well, because there's a gag order. The judge put a gag order and they can't talk. And so we don't know why they turned him in. I suspect it was because that they were told, like, hey, if you don't go to the police, they're going to come and SWAT your house, and you don't want that to happen.
That's exactly true. I broke that story. I spoke to someone that was very close with his parents, and that's what happened. And by the way, that then flies in the face. Remember, they told this whole story that he was suicidal.
Yes.
And then his dad convinced him not to kill himself.
Yes.
And then they said he turned himself in because he didn't want to die. Well, both can't be true. He either wanted to die or he didn't want to die. It can't be he was suicidal, just about to kill himself. And then he said, I'm just going to go in anyways. I don't want to die. And that also conflicts with his text messages where he said, like, if I go to prison for the rest of my life. Okay, is he suicidal or not suicidal? They can't get their story straight. And the reality is the shady character that we can't get clarity on that facilitated this is this, what I believe to be an undercover cop. Mitchell, I think was his name, who was his Boy Scout leader, Eagle Scout leader, whatever it was, at the LDS church. He is the one that facilitated that and said, as an undercover cop, I know that your name came up, whatever. It's going to be easier for you to turn yourself in. Tyler Robinson denied to his father that he had anything to do with it. And it was, okay, well, guess what? They think you do. They're going to bang down your doors. You could potentially die, or you can turn yourself in. And I think that could be part of the reason. I also have another person who told me that the people inside of the police station that he turned himself in were specifically told to avoid cameras, not to look at the cameras when this person came in. In my gut of why they are suddenly saying that footage does not exist, I think it's because of this undercover Mitch that might be in that footage.
Oh.
And yeah, I find that guy to be very problematic. And if you go back and watch Sheriff Brooksby in his first delivery, going back to your point about when they over-explain stuff.
Yes.
He totally over-explains
Yes.
this Mitch character. He's like, it's not weird that he's the one that called us. Like, we're just friends with and I'm nobody asked you if it was weird. So why, and it's now weird that you started with, it's not weird. Like, it's not weird. It's not weird.
It's
So
totally
there's something
normal.
about the Mitch thing that needs to be, I think his name was Detective Mitchell or something, that needs to be prodded further. Best I could tell, by the way, which I find to be interesting, is that he is an undercover cop, I believe, and I'm going to say allegedly here because I can't confirm this with certainty, but it looks like he's involved in online sex crimes against children. So this kind of connects the mysterious dot of Decoy Boy, George, there's a lot of people there. The guy who cheers
Yes.
his father, a lot of them have child sex crimes in their background. And I think that potentially if you do stings and your job as a police officer is to find all these people online, these would be very easy people to blackmail. And Decoy Boy, George Zinn, when he got to the hospital, because he went to UV hospital after, Utah Valley Hospital, he told the nurses that he was told to do that and that he was going to be paid. But he didn't know where the money was coming from. So I think this was going on. There's a lot of like people that were there that day that I looked them up and I'm like, oh, how weird. Like you have a history with child pornography.
So I want to talk about donor money. So do you have information now? I've seen people say that Charlie turned down $150 million offer from Benjamin Netanyahu right before his assassination. Did you hear that? Can you confirm that?
I had never heard the amount. So
okay.
I could have been more, it could have been less. I know that it was a ton of money and it was going to take Turning Point to the next level. That I can confirm. The second thing that I can confirm is that there was as I have reported, a billionaire named Pierre who was going to facilitate, and I am told, billions into Turning Point USA. Now, I am not saying that there was a contingency and Charlie had to die for that to happen, but I can confirm that deal has gone through despite the fact that Charlie died, which if I was a donor, I'd be like, well, Charlie's gone. So what's this organization? I don't know if that's going to work. And I don't know many billionaires that are willing to part with their cash in that way. What's your investment here? You care that much about conservative principles on college campuses. So I am really prodding that narrative because to me, that's a financial motive, if I've ever heard one, of why someone might betray you. Again, not implying that this person said Charlie must die. But when you couple it with Bibi Netanyahu offering to take Turning Point to the next level, you wonder, does this person have a relationship with Bibi Netanyahu? Is that how he was going to take Turning Point to the next level? Because he's not acting right. Bibi Netanyahu's just not acting right. Or he certainly wasn't in the immediate aftermath, tweeting before the president that Charlie had been shot. That doesn't feel right to me. He's a busy guy. He's fighting war everywhere. And he was a little too locked into that. So I have a lot of questions there, and I am investigating that further because it seems that once I mentioned this mysterious Pierre, Turning Point lost their minds. That's when this now wave of assaults have come at me. They're not denying it because it's true. I'm telling you the truth. That's the reality. It was a very hush-hush thing, and people were not supposed to know about it at Turning Point USA, except for a handful of people, about this billions that was going to pour into the company because of this Pierre.
And wasn't there a phone call made by an executive at TPUSA immediately after the assassination to this Pierre? Is that
yes? So
can you tell me about that?
That's what that is. Yeah. And that was kind of what made people at Turning Point go, that was weird. And then that kind of made it around the water cooler. And then I was able to confirm by somebody else at Turning Point USA that happened. Now, I can't say whether it was, certainly when it was told to me, it sounded like it was one of the first phone calls. So I can't say whether that was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, within the hour, 2 hours. But I think it's a strange phone call to make. I mean, I call a lot of people before I called immediately a donor, that's for sure. So now we can assign no ill motive and say maybe that was because they were worried that that person was suddenly not going to give them the money because Charlie was no longer dead. But that seems like a very vain worry when your founder has been shot. And and the way that this came to me, and I'll put this as allegedly, it sounded like before we knew Charlie was dead, that person got a phone call.
Right.
Now, again, it could just be you're in the pool of donors that get everything first because we want this money. So, but it happened, and that's interesting. And me mentioning it caused mass panic.
And we know
we can see that right now.
Yes. And we know there's a lot of shady financial goings on because, as you point out, that in your a list of things that you thought are suspicious and lies is that Charlie established a Doge to go in and audit the finances at his company, which was new. Everybody has normal audits, but he wanted a special one, and then they lied about that. They said that his Doge was not unusual, but of course it is, because Doge wasn't invented until this year. So
of course, common sense.
Right.
And it was so ridiculous to tell that lie again. This is why people don't trust them, because they're not being forthcoming. All of this would not have been suspicious if they were like, yeah, no, that's real. He was going to establish a Doge. He was thinking that we were spending money too quickly. They go with a ridiculous lie every time about everything.
They're bad.
He just liked the architecture at the Catholic Church. Why are you that's such a weird lie? No, he never once blinked on Israel. He loved Israel. He was just about to order a yarmulke in the mail. Like, why are we telling these lies over and over again? Why not come out and be like, and it really sucks because he was under a lot of pressure, and I regret that I pressured him about this topic. Like, that's what Seth Dillon could have said. Instead, he lied about that weekend. People that were there said Seth Dillon pressed him. Okay, I got that firsthand account, people that were there, that Seth Dillon was angry, that he pressed him about Bibi Netanyahu. Doesn't mean Seth Dillon had anything to do with his murder, but I just question, why lie?
Right.
Why not just turn it into a lesson and say, man, that life is short. I really wish that wasn't the last time I saw him. I really regret that something so meaningless was our last correspondence. Why? I don't understand the lies, and nobody does understand the lies. And when people keep telling lies and then gaslighting us about them, it starts to look like a larger conspiracy.
And so they have to create a straw man against you and say, why are you saying that Erica was in on the murder, or TPUSA was in on the murder? You're saying why are they lying? That's what you're not saying this or that. You're not positing a theory. You're asking just why. And so we know that there's shady financial stuff because what is the name of this guy's channel? Wolf Finances. He uncovered some stuff I just want to show you right now. I'm sure you know this, but here we go.
Now we have the finances so we can see how that money was spent. Just to recap, there are 4 shell companies. Turning Point USA is the main one. Then we have Turning Point Action, America's Turning Point, and Turning Point Endowment. Just as a reminder, Tyler Boyer is the only paid executive listed for America's Turning Point. Charlie Kirk is not even listed. So it seems strange to me that in FY24, $8.6 million mysteriously got transferred out of the main company into the shell company managed by Tyler Boyer. When we look at how this money was actually spent, it went mainly to salaries. And in the last video, I mentioned the possibility of ghost employees.
Okay, so I don't want to go, but that's okay. Shady stuff. And here he also found this.
When I was going through all the new financial information, I saw this chart, and immediately I had a good idea of what was going on. This shows revenue going into Turning Point Action, and you can see a gigantic leap in revenues for FY24. It went from 10.7 million to 27.2 million. That is over 150% increase in 1 year, an extraordinary achievement for a nonprofit. What is even more curious is when you put this chart side by side with Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA shows a 4% increase. Remember that Turning Point USA is the main organization with Charlie Kirk as president. Charlie Kirk works a lot less on Turning Point Action, and Tyler Boyer is the COO. Do you see what is happening? For some reason, in FY24, Turning Point got a ton of new donors. But these new donors went around Charlie Kirk and into the organization where Tyler Boyer was the COO. It's almost like they did not want Charlie Kirk to know about it. Now, we don't know who these...
Okay, so I just wanted people to see that. I want people to know that there's motive, right? And so I grew up watching Columbo, and you always look to the people closest to the person. And so there's motive for them to lie about certain things and to not want people to look into it. And they also had motive to be involved. I'm just saying there's motive there, and there it is. And
where there is money, there is motive, always, of course. And I have been very clear and explicit about this. Tyler Boyer is a bad guy. Okay, everybody knows this. Like, look, he required a presidential pardon this year. Okay, he is he's a part of the Arizona sleaze politics, hooks up with younger guys, and is in an open marriage, like a swingers. He's a bad guy, and he is now effectively at the helm of Turning Point USA. You could say, oh, it's Turning Point Action, but Tyler is the person who single-handedly hired every person around Charlie Kirk. He brought in everybody that you are seeing and you have questions about, from Andrew Colvett, who was at the Kairos company before this under Johnny Moore. Johnny Moore is the guy involved in all that Gaza shade, the only humanitarian that they're allowing into Gaza while these kids are being plucked off. Like Tucker did an episode about Johnny Moore and the Kairos Company. Tyler Boyer hired Stacey Sheridan. Tyler Boyer is the one that told Charlie they needed to take Turning Point to the next level. I know who Tyler Boyer is, and I am telling you he's a bad guy. And what I will say is, parking aside, because I've never been involved in what I feel like is just not sound critique of Erica, of like, I don't like her outfit, I don't care about any of that. But if we're going to talk about her as a CEO and a chairman, I find it alarming that she's saying this is her family. Yes. Which, by the way, obviously she knew Tyler before she knew Charlie. Like, they had a longer, like, she's known Charlie. She knew Tyler for years before she ever met Charlie. They went to like the same school and whatever. But the point is I question your judgment as a chairman and a CEO if you're going to say that this is your family. I got issues with your family, okay? And I'm not going to accept that emotional argument that we have to accept that Tyler Boyer is a part of her family, so we can't talk about how problematic he is. That's not leadership. And of course, as a chairman and a CEO, you can have bad judgment. There's also that weird argument where they are now trying to reverse it and go, are you saying that Charlie had bad judgment? Yeah, I'm saying all of us can have the wrong judgment. Charlie certainly, what are you guys trying to, this is the George Floyd thing where they turn George Floyd into like, he never did anything wrong. I would tell Charlie all the time he had bad judgment. I told him not to hire Stacey Sheridan. I said, I just got a bad vibe from her. And I was like, you don't want to go this route with people that are just like focused on money, money, money. Tyler was insisting like she's from this whatever institute and she's going to take us to the next level. So yeah, of course, yeah, Charlie had bad judgment about various things. And I would say that that's abundantly clear right now in the aftermath as we're dealing with people that are supposed to be his lieutenants who don't seem to be doing the right thing to the public. So yeah, we're allowed to say that. Charlie wasn't a perfect person.
Yeah, do you feel like they intentionally made her the CEO so they could hide behind this kind of argument that how dare you? She's a grieving widow. How dare you attack her or her family, which is now her corporation that has raked in $140 million just in the last 2 months. So, do you think that kind of to me that's what it looks like?
What I can say is, I have always said that the speed at which they did it doesn't make any sense to me. There's no reason not to have an interim CEO like every other corporation would do. You know, Justin Strife was COO. He's perfectly capable of being the CEO for a little bit. If it really was Charlie's wishes to have her, as they have indicated, to have her be the CEO, okay, don't you need time to learn things? Like, you know, just take that period to learn. How does it work? Whatever. Get some people in there. Get your guys in there. And naturally, I would expect you're going to do a little bit of firing, you know, and I do think that I agree that it has now presented for them an opportunity to shield themselves.
Yes.
And that's the stage we're at. She's a grieving widow, so you can't question her. And that's why it is akin to David Hogg. They're now making the David Hogg argument. Like, David Hogg survived Parkland. Oh my God, it's a tragedy. So now you have to accept his opinion on CNN. I'm like, well, wait, I'm sorry. This is like he was like a high school kid. David Hogg survived Parkland shooting, so you now can't question whether or not he has the merit to be at Harvard University. I'm like, but I think I can, because I think he sounds like an idiot. Like, why do I have to listen to David Hogg? If David Hogg is getting into Harvard, how is that fair? And so basically what they're saying is it's no longer a meritocracy. You're no longer allowed to have common sense because he survived a tragedy at Parkland. They're doing this same thing with Erica, you can see already, and that's going to frustrate the public very quickly. Of course, you can critique her as a CEO and a chairman. Of course, this is a massive company that relies on the goodwill of the people. And now you're saying that the goodwill of people doesn't matter, and because she's a grieving widow. If you're going to be a grieving widow, it can't be both, right? If you're going to be a grieving widow, that's absolutely fine. You have every right and capacity, and there should be some protection for that. You should not be going after people's wives and assigning their motives. But she stepped into a role as a CEO and chairman. So that's fair. It is fair to critique a company.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So I think we're up. I think our time is up with you. I wanted to just quickly ask you about, was there a light bulb? So Erica Kirk just did an interview with Barry Weiss, who got, the Zionist, you can't say that Zionists run the media, even though explicitly they bought TikTok so they can control the pro-Zionists, and then same thing with CBS News. And I just, was there a light bulb moment for you when you realized the malign controlling influence Israel wields over our politics, our government, and our media?
Yeah, when I said genocide is always wrong and they tried to ruin my life was probably a pretty good light bulb moment. Of it was exactly like a gang descended on me. The messages that I was receiving, basically like it's your final warning. And they're like, we're not a gang. We're not a gang. We just threaten people like a gang, take their entire livelihood like a gang, lie maliciously, use power dynamics to basically say you're not allowed to be in this economy. You'll never hit a stage again at a Republican event if you don't agree with us. And you know what? I had the fortitude and the character to say, F you. I'm not going to align with evil for money. And it is just perfectly rich that these very same people are now saying that she's making money. Like when Barry Weiss asked that question to Erica, they're like, the YouTubers are making hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars talking about this issue. Jimmy Dore is making money. He is doing this for his career. It's amazing how much power they think they have over our psyche. And that's because in the past it's worked. I think they've done it and it's worked in the past. And I'm just happy that for the first time it's not working and people are just seeing through the absolute BS that's happening here.
Well, I was in Australia for 8 days on a tour, and I would start every show by saying you can find everything in Australia that you want. Great food, great entertainment, great nightlife. You just can't find Candace Owens. And everyone would laugh. And I said, they say she didn't pass the character test. I said, did you know that there's a character test to get into Australia? And everybody would laugh. And then so it was. The people in Australia love you. I just wanted to let you know, I've become very fond of you. I really admire your courage. I really do. I really admire your smarts and the way that you don't get distracted by BS. A lot of people would be. And I just really thank you. Like if the Zionists didn't control the media, CBS, MSNBC, Fox, all of it, right? We know it's very pro-Israel, very pro-Zionist. You wouldn't be out there alone. You wouldn't have to do this. But because there's this control of our media, which is real, and it's just been proven by the most recent purchases of the major social media platform, and 1/6 of the entire United States media just got purchased by a pro-Zionist for Zionist purposes. So anyway, I know you have to go. I just want to say, love what you're doing, love you, and keep going. And thank you so much for making time for our show. And that's it. If you have anything to say before we go.
No, just thank you. And just always, I'm so grateful to the people because it's like we're at war with these very powerful establishment voices. But at the end of the day, like it does come down to power to the people. And I think that is what frustrates them because they are just so used to being able to buy things. Like they are just that wealthy where they think they can purchase your common sense. And they're frustrated right now because their unlimited credit card is being declined. They're like, no, but I'm buying your common sense. I can do that. And so we are in a tremendous time. And I deeply appreciate the podcasters who are out there defending me and the people who are watching the content and, effectively giving a middle finger to these guys and saying like, no, like you actually don't get to do this. You don't get to look us in the face and say what Epstein files and keep it moving what Epstein files and keep it moving and pretend that we're the demonic and the evil ones because we want to know about people who are harming children and publicly executing people who are good, publicly executing the good guys and protecting the bad guys. Like that doesn't fly.
Okay. Candace Owens, thank you so much. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
And stay safe.
I'm trying.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Dear Americans, since January 20, 2025, the United States has conducted bombings and airstrikes in 5 countries and a boatload more in international waters. Our hard-earned taxpayer dollars bailed out billionaires who gambled on risky Argentine bonds, and our vote for a strong border evolved into masked thugs with mental problems working at ICE. We watched as our president welcomed Al-Qaeda into the White House, sucked off the Saudi crown prince, and told Laura Ingraham we're dumb. But it's not all bad news. Carlo Rossi 4-liter jugs are just $12.99 at select stores. So have a pint of Chardonnay. Forget about the Epstein dossier. Watch the national debt grow while you sip on a Merlot. Chug-a-lug the Cab Sauvignon and accept that you've been conned. Carlo Rossi, clinically proven to dissolve the forever chemicals recently approved by the EPA. If only that were true. A little jug wine for a little decline.
Ho, wow. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. What an interview. And our whole team, thank you to my team. We all had to wake up early. We made this happen today. All right. So fantastic. And thank you, everybody. Yes, it was a great interview, PL Wright. Yes. Hello, Second Chance. All right. Let's see where I am here. Starting this. Let's see. Boy, we got a lot of chats. Got a lot of chats here. Hold on. Let's see what this one is. Okay, Corn Pop. Jimmy did not borrow those glasses from me. All right, during my teaching days. You're funny. Keep asking questions. The only thing that keeps us safe, and that's salty pureblood. Thank you. Oh my gosh, a user for me. Coffee money for the team. We need coffee right now. All right. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. Thank you for supporting Candace. What's going on? Ooh, my gong. I almost knocked it over. And thank you, Contours, Midwest Music. Thank you very much. At Adbox, you're very vehement about Tim Pool is gay. I'm not sure that Tim Pool is gay. Tim Pool is gay. What? And you know what? If he is, good on him. Okay. So, trolling Benny Johnson with fake Jews, den of thieves, you will know them by their golden fruit. See Fort Knox. John Trump had the Tesla patents, and Elon is dark MAGA, divide and conquer MIT. And that is from that's from my friend A. Barnes. Thank you, A. Barnes. Let's see here. I hope you gave Candace more than 24 hours to decide, P. Walker. We gave her 23 hours. That's how that worked. Some people were like, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about, oops, everything's falling in here. I didn't know about this. Join our email list. And we weren't sure how early or the time and where we're going to live stream. So all those things fell in place about 8 a.m. today. Maybe 7:30. Okay, let's see. Please have grace with Erica Kirk. She is the mother of Charlie's children and a widow. Even if she is doing something wrong, you really should try and still be as kind to her as you can, please. I appreciate that, Ron. I hope you gave, okay, thank you very much. And you know what? I do want to respond to Ron and say that she's also the CEO. And so, several people have pointed out that it's hard to wear both those hats. But someone who can give forgiveness to the supposed assassin and not find that forgiveness in those that are questioning the narrative, that's kind of tricky. And, I think somebody wrote this, the mentally ill people are the ones that are buying the FBI narrative. Those are the mentally ill. That's what I think. But, just one. See what
Steph, what's your shirt?
Oh, my shirt
so
is
cute.
Honeypot. Hashtag honeypot. That's what I am. My hashtag. Misha has one on too. You're gonna go over there. All right. Hold on. All right, show Misha. Everybody's gonna flip. Jimmy's camera. Look, do it again. What you were doing.
Hold on.
Okay, she's gonna walk in. Barry Weiss is gonna lose her shit, and Misha. That's good. Honeypot. Yeah. All right, back to stuff. She does these things for me. Okay. Wow. Jimmy Dore's platforming Candace Owens. And that's from Silver Sister. Garble, 6 maroon bees. What does it mean? Oh, you know what? Camera 4 beside me too. I got some good stuff here. We have sold, I think we have 100 tickets already sold at the Blue Note. Are you going? Come on, girls. Let's see. Steph looks smart. Thank you, Danny boy. Thank you for, okay. Let's see here. 6 maroon bees. What does it mean? I don't know, Garble. Wow, Jimmy Dore is platforming Candace Owens. You know, that's such a funny term, platforming. It used to be like, hey, you're going to interview somebody. Charlie Kirk's neck was made of steel, and the Twin Towers were made of Charlie's neck bones. Gage Ramsey. Curb Control. What is this? Friend has done 3 shows on Erica Kirk from the 60s. Mysterious wife of Florida governor, German emigre to South America. Super strange, worth watching. Love you all. Thank you so much for that one. And that was from Ann Brayling. Thank you, Ann Brayling. Moving on, I've got plenty. Yes, we're going to continue with the show. Yes, it's an early broadcast. So Jimmy is super on time, like hours on time. So all those minutes that you had to say, you know, like you were sitting there dancing to our music, he's got it right back. Erica Kirk involved in assassination of character of Candace Owens. Where does it end? Brian. Like this post if you hate Zionism. Drew, hold on, Drew. Let's give you something. Or out of outrage. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we'll ask him when he walks in. We're figuring out when we switch over to Rumble. Today is a different day. Even Andrew Colette said he saw the text. You're fine. I didn't have anything on there. Important. No. Andrew said that he saw the text. Love you, Candace. Go Max. Thank you, Jimmy, for believing in Candace. And that is from Madeline. Thank you. I have a lot in my way today. What is going on? All right. We got that handled. It's too early. After I retired from teaching, that's right, I was a teacher. After I retired from teaching, I don't wake up early, except when we have to catch a flight. Much love and respect, Candace. You're as real can get. That's from Duly Noted. Kiwi. The worst part is that all of the shills are being paid with billions upon billions of our tax dollars that are sent to Israel every year. Go Max. Christ is King.
Yeah, I guess we should.
Kiwi.
I guess we should jump over to Rumble.
Oh, should we do that now? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Let me do one more thing. I got to just refresh. And that's not a euphemism for anything, girls. All right, let's see here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to Rumble. I'll put a link right now. Let's see where that is. What a busy morning we've had. What a busy morning. All right, let's do this. You know, you're right about it, Saturn. The whole thing is a ritual operation. Boy. All right, so there is that link, and then I will pin it. There we go. Pinning. Hold on. Pinning it. There we go. Frankie, thank you for that cute little emoji. All right, folks, you know what's going to happen. We're going to go to Rumble right now, and we'll be back with a bunch of segments from Jimmy Dore and his team. See you in a minute.